breaking down the deals, data, and disruption shaping global markets. You're listening to The Daily Ledger with Dennis Sert.
Hey folks, it is Tuesday, July 21st, 2026. You're listening to The Daily Ledger Show, and I am your host, Dennis Sert. Great to be here with you tonight. We're doing a quick sound check, looking good. We got some good stories we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about Google releases new AI, 3 new AI models. Vibe-coded apps are flooding the App Store. Is that good for Apple? OpenAI is adding 2 independent board members ahead of IPO. Jack Dorsey is taking on Slack with Buzz, a group chat platform for teams and their AI agents. Data centers expected to use 4 times more electricity by 2035. Oracle could face $7 billion in collateral bill for Wisconsin data center. Tesla spins up robotaxi pilots in Orlando and Tampa ahead of Q2 earnings. Avengers Endgame Encore will have 7 additional minutes and connect to Doomsday. And finally, Mark Ruffalo once effusively praised Elon Musk and Tesla before condemning him over politics. How exciting. So we'll be getting into all of that. Before we do, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and follow if you're on Instagram or TikTok. Make sure to share those reels, TikToks, and shorts around. It's a lot of fun to edit those and clip them out and essentially clip farm, but with like a positive spin, of course, positive connotation. The kind of longer form live shows. So would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. Let's dive right in. So our first story is Google releases 3 new AI models. So it's funny because the New York Times and TechCrunch both have a spin on this. TechCrunch seems to spin it as if like it's not enough, but no 3.5 Pro, which is, I guess, what people were waiting for. So New York Times, the models include one that is the company's most powerful and another that is fine-tuned for cybersecurity as Google competes with rivals like OpenAI and Anthropic, especially with Anthropic's Mythos/Fable, which is geared towards cybersecurity. So Gemini Flash 3.6 improves on the capability of Google's previous version of Flash, which performs strongly on benchmarks like coding and finance tasks. I don't know who uses Gemini to code. Honestly, everyone I know codes with Claude Code. Some of them Claude. I didn't even say code there. It's subliminal messaging / Freudian slip. But some of them code with OpenAI Codex as well. Yeah, so I personally use Claude Code rather than Codex, although I tried both of them via an A/B test earlier in February. I know the model's OpenAI seems to apparently have gotten better with GPT 5.6 Sol, but Sol, I don't know. I'm keeping an eye on it, but I'm not really looking to shop around at this point. I'm looking to further refine my prompts with Claude Code, which I believe has taken the cake with coding. So anyways, so that's that. Yeah, so here's TechCrunch essentially talking about that. Gemini 3.6 Flash is Google's, quote, workhorse model, and it's basically saying the same thing. The update doesn't include the long-anticipated update to Google's flagship model Gemini Pro, which was updated last in February. Yeah, so and then it kind of talks about how TechCrunch kind of talks about how Anthropic and OpenAI have been updating since then. The New York Times, vibe coded apps are flooding the app store. Is that good for Apple? I had been hearing about this since like October or November of last year. And honestly, um, yeah, with the rise of vibe coding, of course that's going to happen. Now, apparently, Apple is a little bit lukewarm towards that. Apparently, they've been cracking. It's very hard to get an app on the App Store, actually. Um, a lot of it can be taken down for spam. That's what happened to me prior to AI one time. Um, I got subsequent apps on the App Store afterwards, but um, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of reasons why your app can be rejected. So if they're getting past the App Store review process, which apparently has gotten even more stringent, then we'll get on them. And apparently, some of these vibe coded apps have been quite good, like this one right here. Most This person's most popular vibe coded app, Kick, tracks aircraft and watercraft. I mean, there's a million of these, right? And it's like, you know, see, the problem is direct to consumer. Consumers, turns out, don't like giving you money. Consumers hate giving you money. That's why you do B2B. Okay, so outside of the big players like the DoorDashes, the Metas, etc., you know, you're probably, I mean, statistically speaking, most startups fail. It's like 93% of startups fail, 7% make it. But amongst those 7%, you're probably not going to succeed with a direct to consumer app. You'll probably succeed if you're a successful startup with a B2B idea slash startup, not with a direct to consumer. And that's what this is kind of going towards. Like, honestly, putting an app on the App Store is a trap. It's something naive founders would do unless they have a very strong signal, aka people begging them to have this out, have the solution. And the fact of the matter is, I mean, I hate to be doomer or like blackpilled, but let's look at the facts. Like, the ideation space of good ideas that can make you money is inevitably being populated, right? Like, I can't, like, maybe in the past pre DoorDash, I could make a DoorDash, but now it's like if I made a DoorDash, I would immediately die. Um, so yeah, I know, white pillars don't like hearing that. Um, and I think it's important to be cleared pilled. Of course, you don't want to turn down any opportunities to make something people want. In fact, you do want to make something people want. You want to look for what people want, and that is what I'm advocating for. What I am essentially saying is, do not make things that people do not want. Okay, like, that is the point of this. OpenAI is adding 2 independent board members ahead of IPO. AI company names David Velez of Nubank and Robin Vince of BNY as directors. So, of course, I mean, well, the fact of the matter is, they do, like, OpenAI does need to replenish its board after getting rid of Larry Summers last November, former president of Harvard University, because he was associated with Epstein, of course. But these guys, David Velez, founder and global executive of, or a CEO of Nubank, a Latin America digital services firm, and Robin Vince, CEO of Bank of New York Mellon, seem to be all right. Apparently, seasoned public market executives and well-known names in the financial world. Of course, OpenAI is trying to do their IPO, and they're trying to add finance guys ahead of their IPO. Will they be able to IPO? I mean, Apple's kind of gone for the jugular here with a lawsuit, so that's not looking too good. Well, we'll see. TechCrunch: Jack Dorsey is taking on Slack with Buzz, a group chat platform for teams and their AI agents. So it's a good idea, but what happens when Slack adds AI agents? Which they already kind of have agents with like slashes and stuff and like commands. So Jack Dorsey is launching Buzz, a new group chat platform for teams of people and agents. built to reduce our dependency on Slack and GitHub, model agnostic, decentralized, self-sovereign, and open source. Okay, very nice. So I guess there's that. Data centers expected to use 4 times more electricity by 2035. Isn't it funny how the Democrats and the left, I hate to say it like that because I've kind of essentially moved beyond the left right paradigm, but it's like the Democrats have really taken this data center thing seriously after seeing that the Republicans have have been pro data center because they're pro AI. And it's funny because the Democrats used to be the ones that were for digital surveillance of all kinds in order to censor speech online, in order to conduct, entrapment, FBI, liberal headed FBI entrapment, right? So in 2020, Governor Whitmer of oh, what state was she the governor of? Michigan. So I had to check my notes real quick, but I was just saying that in 2020, though, Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer was involved in this like FBI entrapment case, such that 2 people that were kind of led on by the FBI ended up being acquitted for exactly that, for entrapment. Right. So, anyways, so you can't do this stuff without digital surveillance up the wazoo, and that's exactly what the Democrats were for. And now it's like, oh my God, now you have like Bernie Sanders being like, oh no, we can't be surveilled. Our medical data cannot be surveilled. Oh yeah. What's Vault 7? Why is Edward Snowden in Russia and not the US? What is the NSA and what is its purpose? Why is it that when I happen to use certain keywords, those ads show up in my Instagram Reels algorithm, right? It's like, why did Google pay like $68 million last February to settle a case of essentially spying, like just listening to you via your phone? How does always on Siri / Gemini / etc. work? Right? The Hey Googles, etc. They all work by listening to you. You can't get around that fact. It's been like that since the dawn of modern technology. Okay. But now it's like, oh my God, the Democrats think you're retarded. And they're like, oh, well, we can't have AI surveil our medical records. It's like, who do you think you are? And anyways, so they took the stance against digital surveillance, which is just so stupid. It's like, is the sun, blue? Let's have a debate over that. It's like, well, it's clearly yellow. Well, no. Well, hold on. Let's talk about whether or not the sun is yellow or blue or some other color. It's like, no, it's yellow, right? So, anyways, they're so stupid. But data centers specifically, now they're gonna essentially be against that, right? Which is kind of crazy. And it kind of ties into this next article. I couldn't care less about like the energy usage. The Democrats themselves abandoned this issue. You look at Bill Gates, he was like one of the most pro environmental issue guy, kind of in the late 2010s. And then look at him now. He's like, oh, more data centers. It's like, okay. But from the Financial Times, Oracle could face $7 billion collateral bill for Wisconsin data center. So these data centers, turns out, aren't actually being built. So they're being announced and then they're not being built. So that's actually a really big problem, because what's about to happen is the Democrats are about to take the House and likely also the Senate. And then what's going to happen is in 2028, the Democrats are going to take the presidency and they're going to have a trifecta. And when that happens, data center construction is going to come to a halt. And the problem is there haven't been any data centers that have been built there haven't been very many. Okay. So you can see here the dark blue is the announced ones, which is a majority of them. These ones are under construction. Of course, a lot of them are actually delayed as well. Very little have been built. Most of the ones that have been built have been in 2025, 2024, and 2023. And with the Strait of Hormuz crisis, energy is now an issue and will be for the next 5+ years. So these data centers are not going to be built. And, you know, short of orbital data centers being a massive success in like the next year, that means that AI hype may start to lose steam as there isn't enough compute, which would lead inevitably to higher costs as you need to prioritize who uses the compute as token usage continues to increase. So I'm not saying the AI bubble is going to die or be popped, but we're going to see you know, um, a slowdown in momentum, especially right around 2027 when the 2026 midterms are done, and especially in 2028 through 2032, which is not looking too good. To be honest, all of the blue should essentially be then assumed to be not built, and in which case it's very little. Let me kill this ad blocker thing that TechCrunch recently did. Tesla spins up robo-taxi pilots in Orlando and Tampa ahead of Q2 earnings. Tesla has brought an unspecified number of its unsupervised Model Y SUVs to Orlando and Tampa just one day ahead of the company's scheduled second quarter earnings call. So they also did that tomorrow. They also did that. They also expanded their unsupervised FSD robo-taxi service to SFO, which is kind of cool. That park place, Avengers Endgame Encore, will have 7 additional minutes and connect to Doomsday. Like, this is just Disney flailing. It's gonna make some money, but Doomsday is but over $1 billion just about in budgeting. Like, that's a lot of money. So it's gonna need to make a lot more than $1 billion in order to sort of even break even. Like, this isn't going to be a break even movie. This is going to be a, can we like revive the franchise, which everyone's kind of done. It's over. Superhero fatigue is here. Like, AMC is doing quite well this year in 2026, mostly due to the Minecraft movie, Super Mario Galaxy 2, arguably. Of course, Obsession, made by a YouTuber, as well as Backrooms, right? So just to name a few of the heavy hitters this year. And of course, none of these are superhero movies. Last superhero movie, James Gunn's DC, updated DC universe. Supergirl, complete flop. Disney's other, like, outside of the superhero genre, continued like reimagining slash remakings of like historical movies, like Moana, for instance. I wouldn't call it historical, just 2016, but they remade it, also flopped really bad, actually. It's like something like $500 million budget, and it only made like 95. Yeah, in like the first couple weekends. Yeah, so it's not looking too good on several fronts. There seems to be only one type of movie genre which seems to be doing well, which is, video game adaptations, as well as indie made Gen Z horror. So I think Disney should kind of quietly bow out of these like weird superhero movies. Like, no one cares anymore. It's just, they're just pumping propaganda. Geeks and gamers. More Disney layoffs in 2026. Hundreds cut at Pixar, ESPN, and National Geographic under new CEO. Yeah, Josh D'Amaro cutting more layoffs, doing more layoffs. Wants to unify kind of all of the branches, apparently. Movies, themes, parks, TV, cruise ships, etc. should work cohesively, complementing each other rather than feeling like independent parts of a whole. So that's his thesis on that. And we'll end with looks like I don't. We'll end right there. Great. Well, good stream tonight, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.